was your week, Eva? Like this. I think you can still see it. It has got fainter in the last couple of days, but it's still there. How was my week? Well, I got a pretty visible scratch on my face, and the culprit was a bunch of bananas. Welcome back, or welcome to my channel. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Eva, and apparently I am at risk of serious harm from bananas. I was in the shop and I refused to buy a plastic bag, and so I started accumulating stuff on top of my hands, and then I threw the bananas on my face. And you know, when they stick together, it's pretty sharp apparently, and it just really, I got that on my face, and it just crushed my face. And for the last couple of days I had to go around and answering, what happened to your face, with it was bananas. Like, it's not like bonkers, like it was actually a bunch of bananas that landed on my face. And yeah, you can imagine how that conversation then progressed from there. I just wanted to quickly update you on why I am a bit more absent, or why, you know, I can't be as regular in uploading videos. I will still upload videos. I'm not disappearing or anything. I'm just some weeks I might be more regular with them. Some weeks I might have to take a longer stretch without. Depends on, you know, how I can do things. Basically, without again going into much details, I am currently working full-time, and I work in therapeutic services, and I also am doing a 5-year master to become a psychotherapist. I'm in year 2, and when you become a psychotherapist in the UK, you need to, well, go to the course face-to-face. So I go to school in the weekends. Every 3 weekends I've got 9 to 5:30 in school, both Saturday and Sunday, and it's very far from my house, so I need to travel to go there and spend the whole weekend. It's a teaching weekend, and then we have to do 450 hours to qualify through a placement, which means that I have found a placement at the end of year 1, and I work for a charity providing free counseling, so I can get the experience and we can also give back. I absolutely cherish and value a lot what the charity I work for does, so I'm very happy with my placement. But this means that I have, every week I go and do my placement hours on top of my full-time work. So the way it works is that 8 to 6 Monday to Thursday I work, not my normal job, because I wanted to do like work full-time but in 4 days, so I'm doing concentrated hours. And then I have a day off on Friday, but my day off is when I go and do my placement hours, so I see my clients. And then when you are becoming a psychotherapist in England, you need to have therapy. You have to be in therapy once a week, and you need also to have supervision every 4 hours of clients, which basically works out that every week, on average, I need to have 1 hour therapy, 1 hour supervision, and then I have my 4 clients a week, and that's a placement, which is on top of my job. And then we have every 4 weekends in school, as I said, so full time. So I go away very early in the morning, come back for dinner time, and then we have to do peer group meetings. We need to study and do essays and so on. And on top of all of these, of course, I've got my house, I've got my family, I've got my child, and so trying to really cram everything in. I'm trying my best, but some days I'm very stressed. And on top of everything, my job, as I said, I do work in therapeutic services, now basically has become mandatory to get a certification for doing my job, and it has to be very specific qualification. So it doesn't matter if I got more qualifications, which I do have more qualifications, so I'm overly qualified for my job in a sense, but I don't have the right qualification, the specific one. So my job has offered me an opportunity to go and do the diploma, a 1-year diploma in that, in that qualification specifically. So I was put in front of a choice where I didn't really have a choice. I can't risk my job. So I had to take the diploma, but at the same time, I'm not giving up my master's. So I'm keeping my master's, I'm doing my master in psychotherapy, but I will have to also start at the end of January a 1-year diploma in, the specific job I'm doing. And it's a bit challenging because as a psychotherapist, I'm studying one methodology of therapy, delivering one methods of therapy that's actually the opposite of what I am doing on my job. So there's a lot of mental gymnastics with me to try to be certain with me, with my clients on the job and with my clients outside of the job. And there is benefit in learning more than one kind of therapy, but it's very difficult training in two opposite styles of therapy at the same time. And from the end of January, I will have to go to school for my job. So the way it's gonna work is that Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, I'm gonna be on the other side of London at university for my job. And then on Tuesday, I'm gonna be in placement. And then on Thursday, I'm gonna work 8 to 6. And then in the weekends, I might be in school for my master. So in all of these, it means that for 2 weeks out of 4 in a month, I have no breaks. I don't have day off. I just work, school, work, school, work, school. And as you can imagine, it is overwhelming. It's all things I like and appreciate, and I think I am privileged to be able to do this. It's just that on a daily basics, it's very taxing on my mental capacity, just because I have to then do essays for both, I have to see clients for both, I have to work, I have to go to school, and blah blah blah. So it's just really difficult for me to find time to sit and do things just for myself. And reading has taken like a massive cut because I'm just physically not able to find the time to sit down, because the weekends that I'm not in school, I'm at home, I've got a lot of catching up, ironing, cleaning, doing all of that stuff, spending time with my family. So I'm just really trying to fit everything in, and something has to give. So the positive things is that my other school, I don't have to take the tube. I will be able to take the train, and because I can take the train, it's going to be almost an hour training going and coming back. So it's almost like 2 hours of train plus my lunch break. I will bring a book with me, and so I will have actually an hour where I can't do anything else apart from reading, and I prefer to do that rather than watching my phone. So I do have some hopes that my reading actually is going to improve in 2025 because of these. And my school days also will change throughout the years. It's not going to be always 3 days. I'm going to then kind of cut down and go back to work more days as the year go along in the diploma. So yeah, I just choose today to see also the positives, which is more time to read when I take the train and go back and forth during my commute, to go back to school and do 2 schools. I love learning. So there are positive things in all of these, but it is exhausting physically and mentally because I'm constantly on the go. So that's what's been happening. So please bear with me while I figure it all out, or if 1 week I can't upload, I'm just gonna let it go. I really want to focus next year, coming to the second section, which is plans for my channel. The next year I really want to focus on reading as I've been doing this year, what I feel like reading, but with a bit more structure, because this month, for example, or since September actually, I realized that all the books I'm reading, I like to read more than one book at once, are all heavy fantasy or like urban fantasy, and I miss reading other stuff apart from fantasy. Now I do need to read fantasy, like it's a need I have, where if I don't read a fantasy for like a week, I feel like, oh, something is missing from my life. But I want to also integrate more different reads. My plan for next year is I'm not gonna have like a shelf TBR, or I'm not gonna randomly pick a book and then force myself to read that book, but I'm gonna give myself a bit more structure. And the way I want to do it is, so the way I work at the moment is I do have an hour and a half a night of fuel left before I just drop dead in the bed. So between 9 and 10:30, I am gonna read a book a day. So let's say that I've got 5 books I'm in the middle of. So one night I read one night I read the other one, and so on until I go through all of them. Sorry, sitting down because my ankles are giving up on me. But on Friday night, it's my gaming night. Like I just play PlayStation on Friday night. So realistically speaking, on Saturday we have takeaway and watching movie if I'm not going to school the next day. If not, I just drop dead in the bed. And on Sunday I am still gonna play PlayStation because I want to mix it up. Like I do like playing video games, and I don't want to completely not do that. So Monday to Thursday are the evenings where I'm gonna read, and I wanna have 4 books in 4 different genres that I'm gonna read one each night, and then I'm gonna have a 5th book that I'm gonna read, and that's gonna be my commute book. So the book that I can carry around, and usually this is a paperback, so a bit more lighter and also not a special edition, because they get a bit ruined by just going in the bag back and forth, back and forth. So I'm kind of having 5 books in 5 different genres on rotation. Once I finish one genre, I can pick up another one in that genre and moving on. So that's the plan. I like having a plan. They usually go to shit, but you know, one girl can try. So my plan is to read one epic fantasy, so a bit more heavier, like maybe like a massive, you know, series, or an epic sci-fi, like a sci-fi book all time. Then I'm gonna read another fantasy potentially, but the other fantasy has to be more light. So this could be like a romantic fantasy, it could be like a fairy loot fantasy where there is always an element of romance, it could be a urban fantasy, so something like the, oh my god, what is the other series? Stormfront is with Jim Butcher, like the kind of more like, yeah, urban fantasy, low fantasy. So one epic sci-fi or epic fantasy, one lighter fantasy usually, because I don't know really about light sci-fi. So one, then I am gonna read one, sorry, I'm not giving you a middle finger, one non-fiction. So in the non-fiction, this could be potentially a history book, it could be about nature, it could be a true crime. So again, I'm gonna kind of then within those categories, I'm gonna work out, you know, to just have a bit of difference. I might do one true crime, and then the next time I might pick up like Napoleon story or whatever. So non-fiction. And then I am gonna have a literature fiction / historical fiction / romance book. I don't really read romance, but that's my my, you know, if I ever want to, that's my slot. It's mostly gonna be historical fiction and literature fiction. There are a bunch of historical fiction I've started series and I want to finish, and the last one is gonna be horror or thriller, and usually my thrillers are pretty horrific, violent. There's still some wiggle room within these categories, because, you know, one time I might pick up a horror, the next time I might read a thriller. Contemporary fiction, or, you know, maybe historical fiction. True crime, I don't know, a book about the war or what it is. Fantasy and epic fantasy or sci-fi. So it's gonna be in a rotation, so I'm not gonna have like a specific TBR every month where I just need to go through 5 books. Once I finish one gets replaced, if it makes sense. And I do not know which one we're gonna get, you know, which one is gonna go into like the transportation, commute section, depends on, you know, the format of the book. Mostly I will still listen to audiobook, those are like random, I don't have categories for that, whether it's on script available, I read. But yeah, that's the plan. So reading 5 different genres at a time, so at least my brain also, I appreciate more change. I like to be able to jump from, you know, it keeps my attention more if I have like different things to focus on, and it's also quite exciting because I tend to do you know, Abby book and so on to decide the next read for the week. So I kind of set up this mini game for myself, and it works well. And also on top of everything, in the weekends when I got a bit more time or on the go, I can also pick up a comic or a manga. It's gonna be probably in the weekends, but I do have some graphic novel series that I started and I never finished, so I am now kind of looking actively to purchase the remaining volumes so I can binge read them again. So the comic side of things is going to kind of pretty much stay the same. It's unlikely, I don't know, it depends how much I read. It might be like one-off wrap-up of comics, which I think is the best, or maybe I will put them in my monthly wrap-up. Let me know if you prefer them separately, or, you know, to just add them up monthly. But yeah, that's all. I definitely want to continue reading manga and comics. I'm just gonna, for not having a specific schedule for it, I might just binge read a series or just a few volumes here and there, and wrapping them up as we will see. It's the best fit, and that's it. I'm quite eager to keep my monthly wrap-ups and book hauls on my channel, as well as my unboxings, but that is the ones I guarantee most. I want to do more reviews, spoilery reviews, if I can, but that's gonna be my focus. Maybe doing like more like this book whole review of it if I can, at least once a month, to review a whole book with spoilers. This could be a comic or could be a book or both, depends. That's a bit optimistic. But wrap-ups, unboxings of Fairy Loot's Broken Binding every night, random book hauls, and maybe in-depth spoilery reviews of stuff. That's my focus for next year. These are the plans. These are what's been happening. These are the plans for this year. But if you're new, I would love for you to stick around. You can see how much hurt I can get from vegetable and fruit in the future. And I would love to chat with you in the comments down below. I'll see you next time. Take care. Ciao.